Let's get it. The podcast that you need. That's facts. Push it. Push it.
Awesome. And I have Barbara Majeski on the podcast today, and I'm super, super pumped from New Jersey. She's a transformation expert, investor, TV personality, speaker, and a host of Bearing It All podcast. So it's an honor to have you on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. So I want to just jump right into it and deliver some value and some empowerment for the guest here. You are a survivor and a conqueror of stage 3 cancer, which is a massive deal. Let's talk about that. What was that? Was that a big catalyst moment for your life? And let's dive in.
The crazy part was it was on the heels of my marriage imploding in a dumpster fire blaze of glory right out of a movie. And I didn't see it coming. Hit me like a Mack truck. 3 young kids. My daughter was in pre-K, and my boys were 4th and 6th grade. And when they told me I had cancer, I couldn't hear it at first. I was like, I am in the middle of a crisis. So I really can't have cancer right now. And, especially when they told me it was stage 3 and I had to have chemo and surgery, I was like, somebody send me a life raft. This is out of control. So I was battling, a broken heart at the same time. I'm battling a late stage cancer. And so it was tough, but I had these breakthroughs, and they always say, through every a breakdown isn't a breakdown. It's generally a breakthrough. And this couldn't be truer, because it really gave me access, to, I think, a higher expression of myself. When I was going through chemo, I no longer had the bandwidth to worry about everyone's perception of me and checking all the right boxes and saying the right thing and kissing everyone's ass and being a people pleaser and making everyone happy. I'm like, I had to conserve my energy and really focus on things that mattered. I wasn't sure if I was going to survive it or not. And I've lost friends now to stage 3 cancer, which pisses me off, by the way. I have a whole bizarre reaction to that one. But, that's it. My priorities became hyper focused, and it became very, very clear. And that clarity has never left me. And just becoming a better expression of myself came through that experience. I no longer checked boxes. I was like, is this making me happy? Is this improving my circumstances in my life? Is this how I want to use my next year of my life? Because every year to me is a gift. Every birthday, people complain about getting older around me, and I honestly want to smack them on the back of the head. Be like, you do realize that's a gift not afforded to everybody. I have no problem being like, my birthday's in April. I'm going to the 5th floor in April. I'm like, all right, let's bring it on. That's the 50s. And I couldn't listen. Do I like the effects of aging? No, I can't see you anymore. I have to wear glasses, and I can't hear shit. And I don't like the effects of aging, but I love growing old. So yeah, I'm a better person for it, for sure.
That's awesome, Barbara. So do you feel like that experience, it sounds like it got you in touch with the real you, the true you?
Yeah, the better me.
The better you.
The better me. I think that, I used to be very judgmental. And now listen, we all judge, but I think my lens to which I make judgments is I don't know, it's captured with compassion and curiosity. So my judgment lens is so much more expansive and so much kinder and so much more user friendly, because I get curious and I don't judge people harshly. Right. But prior to cancer, I was like, if that happened to me, I would do this. And prior to my marriage falling apart, if that happened to me, I had all these things of this is how I would handle it. So now, just through my own experience, because I felt like the universe was like, really, Barbara, hold my beer. Let's see how you handle X, Y, and Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I come out the other side with a better sense of humor. I have better friendships. I also have a more expansive friend group, which I'm finding I laugh heartier and I feel more. So I'll always say cancer happened for me, not to me. And
I
I'm
love
lucky I
that.
survived. I don't even like, that's kind of weirds me out because I had stage 3 colon cancer at 42. I'd run the New York City Marathon twice. I didn't look like a colon cancer. I didn't look like what they taught us colon cancer looked
Right.
like. I was taught colon cancer was an old man's disease that had poor lifestyle habits and was overweight and sedentary and all the things. Colon cancer didn't look like this. 5'3", 120 pounds, running marathons. But that's exactly what colon cancer looks like. It looks like everybody. It has no discrimination, and it is decimating younger and younger demographics.
Yeah, that's powerful, and it seems like it was a powerful catalyst to where you are now. What obviously you said it helped you become a better version of yourself, the best you. What did it broaden your perspective? Did it give you a different sense of purpose at all?
Yeah, 100%. I reflected at one point, I was bumping up against my 8th or now 9th infusion. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't think cancer was going to take me. I thought the chemo was going to wipe me out. And rightfully so, I did not do well with chemo. And I thought, oh my God, could this be where my story ends? Of all the chapters that anybody will know about me, they've already been written. I don't get to write any more chapters. And in that moment, I reflected on all the things I was really proud of. But I also took stock of all the things that I really wanted to do and never took any initiative to do. And I swore that if I got another shot at life, I would never play small again. I would be in relentless pursuit of living out all my dreams because I would rather fail in the pursuit than fail to pursue. Like I was like, I just never tried. And where that has led me, I mean, these two things, abandoning judgment without knowing and, being in relentless pursuit of my living out my best life has changed the trajectory of my life. It has been so much richer, and not monetarily wise, but experience wise. And that's really what we're all comprised of, is memories and experience.
Right.
I could tell you story after story after story of how, let me tell you this. I just was like, I'm no longer judging anything. Unless I've walked the walk, I do not get to judge anything. And it presented itself in how I raised my kids. So when I got to the other side of this experience with this newfound of like, I judge nothing, my daughter was like 4 or 5, and she had this certain thing. And I was like, wow, she's got something in front of a camera. But prior to this, I'd be like, anybody that's a child actor gets into modeling, they're going to become porn stars and heroin addicts, right? Isn't that what we all think?
That's typically what you think.
Think about it, Blake, because we read the cover of Us Weekly, right?
Yeah.
That's what Us Weekly taught us. So therefore, it's legit.
It's the truth.
It's like, that's what's going to happen. You do this, you get that. Now, I'm not saying those stories aren't legit. They're legit, but are they really? Do they comprise an entire industry? I don't know. So anyway, my daughter had this thing that I saw, and I was like, because somebody had been like, you should put her into modeling. And I was like, I would never, like, bad moms do that. But then you hear yourself saying shit like that, and you're like, who am I to judge that? Here's the beauty of all that. And it's so powerful when you abandon judgment and you invite in, I don't know, unless I've actually done it. I walk a mile in those shoes. So I send her pictures off to a modeling agency. We go in for an interview. She's like literally Shirley Temple in this interview. I'm like, I don't know. We ended up, we've ended up in Portugal together. We have been in Puerto Rico under the age of 6. We went to Portugal and Puerto Rico on photo shoots.
That's awesome.
And me and my little daughter, I have one girl. I have no sisters. I have a daughter who's like my ride or die now. I would have never had those experiences. And now she's got this like little portfolio. And when I tell you, she remembers these days off from school more than she remembers any day at school, and the adventures that her and her mother went on. She remembers these castles that we visited in Portugal. She remembers I had to do little videos and send them back to her teacher of, what she had learned. And like when I talk about this, my heart grows 10 times bigger because I realized that I had changed only the way that I perceived things. And it was nothing really changed, just my perception of the world. Now, if at any time she doesn't want to do this, we're out. I'm done. That's it. I'm not doing it. But I no longer judge any industry, any sport until I've put myself. So anyway, that's the power that I got from kind of having my, the rug pulled out from under me, and the universe being like, you don't know shit, Barb. Like, you've got some growing to do. And this is the only way you're going to grow, is you have to actually walk this walk. So that's just one of so many experiences that are so rewarding once I had that kind of breakthrough.
Well, that's super powerful. And I feel like the two golden nuggets that you were mentioning is there's this, and I forgot who, I've heard this somewhere. I don't know where it was from. It's called mortality motivation. Right?
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like someone that goes through that type of experience, all of a sudden they wake up and they're just like locked in, and in a sense you lose fear, right? You lose all that fear because you
it's so stupid, because some of the fear is based in such a narrative that you're like, what am I afraid of? People are going to judge me. Wait a second. People are going to judge you anyway. You might as well give them something to judge you about. Exactly. And people mostly, like from the 4 agreements, like they're mostly not thinking about you. Like, it's not about you.
That's what I always say. I always say
it's not about nobody's actually thinking about you. Everyone's thinking about themselves.
Exactly.
And you have no jurisdiction of the way people perceive you. What are they going to say? Who cares what they're going to say? They're going to say shit that's a reflection on their own internal dialogue, has nothing to do with you. Let it go. And I just it's all these things compiled that allow you this like liberation. And I do try to share my story of what you had just said of, don't do what I did. You don't have to wait till you're confronted with your own mortality for you to unleash these shackles of judgment and doubt and the weight of other people's opinions. You don't have to do what I did. That's dumb. Just acknowledge it, move, and then swipe left and move in like, all right, I just would rather fail in the pursuit. And trust me, I make an ass out of myself every 3 days in some like glorious fashion. I don't know where or when, but I am like glorious in my humiliation of thyself. And I don't care. I'm like, oh, all right, that's a story for Thanksgiving to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think what's powerful is you've already seen, you experienced, in honestly the worst thing that as humans we can experience, right? Which is come in to face with actually maybe, not being here anymore. And because all the other stuff that we put in our heads, it's just, like you said, it's a bunch of narratives and stories that we tell ourselves that seem like boogeymen, but it's really, at the end of the day, it's just smoke and mirrors, Yeah. And so what you mentioned something like, wanting to help people kind of push through that without having to go through that experience, because most people honestly will not go through your experience, right? Mm-hmm. How do people do that? What are some suggestions that you think that can help people kind of say, hey, you know what? I'm done living in this self-imprisoned, mentally. How do I break through?
The self-imposed imprisonment of fear and self-doubt and like all these false narratives. And it's so true. First of all, you got to take inventory of the bullshit. Like, you got to take stock. I do think some of it has been planted in our subconscious mind through the educational system. We were taught we're either smart or dumb based on these very narrow parameters set forth in academia. You're not smart because you can't figure out an algorithm or calculus or the Pythagorean theorem. I don't even know if that's a word.
Me neither.
Polygamy. That's also marriage. Whatever that was. And that defined us. It's embedded in our subconscious mind. And the truth that I have come to understand with every person that I have met, everyone has a unique genius that resides within inside of them. And just allowing that, like having more of that clarity of like, you're gifted and you're supposed to use your gifts in service and helping others. You are supposed to be leveraging your gifts for the greater good. The more people you help get what they want, the better you're going to be. Oprah Winfrey taught me that 150 years ago. All right, it was in 2004. Yeah. Feels like it. I was like, anyway. And I think those, I wouldn't call them social constructs, but you said it best when you said, you imprison, like the mental imprisonment we put ourselves, these are self-imposed parameters that we've accepted. Like, somebody may have said it to you, and I will give you that, but now you have the authority to say, just because I don't understand, or it doesn't mean you can't understand it. It means you're just not that interested. Because when anybody I've met, when they are interested in something, stands the fuck back, because they become a master of whatever it might be, whether it's real estate or development or the arts, or like unbelievable. And as well, like people that tap into it and really like bring it to its full magnitude, you're just like oh my God. People astound me all the time when they tap into their genius. So you're not wrong. Like, people are imprisoned by their own limiting beliefs that, yes, may have emanated from early development, but now you can take inventory of it and be like, it's no longer serving me. And I will say this, Blake, I do these live resets. So I'm very big on inspiration doesn't lead to transformation. Action does. Information doesn't lead to like, you can't buy the Peloton and get in shape. It's not buying the things that get you the things. You can't read a book on how to get pregnant and expect to make a baby. You got to do the things. Okay. We're
Exactly.
And the reason I use that analogy is, first of all, it's like, oh yeah, you really can't. You have to do the things to get the things. And so I've launched these courses and these challenges, and they're all based in action. They're all based. They're not like, I'm not here to motivate you and then you got to go do the work. I'm not here to inspire you. And, I'm so excited. And then you go home and you do the same shit over and over again. I'm like so over that. So I do these courses that are all action based, whether they're a 14-day intensive or a 90-day, I do a 90-day workout challenge. They're all live. They're not self-directed. It's like, I am right here and you better show me your steps for the day. I'm like your personal trainer.
I love it.
But that's where I help people, especially in the 14-day intensives. Okay, we're going to tackle 14 key strategies in personal development that you have to be connected to in order to accelerate all areas of your life, your health, wealth, or happiness. And I'm obsessed with my programs. I'm just gonna say that right now.
No, I love that. I love all that, Barbara, because I think that's in total alignment with what I believe as well. Is we're just bombarded with a lot of information, and I feel like, and I've experienced it, right? Like, I get inspired, I get motivated about something, and then like I get a phone call and I forgot, and then I don't ever actually do anything, and it's the roadmap, it's the action that actually gets us the results. And
it's consistency. That is like, we can all get fired up initially and then go buy that piece of equipment, download that app, buy the book, buy the membership. We get very excited because our inner self is like, that's what you want. You want those results. So you're willing to make the investment. You know what you want, but it's that consistency that becomes so difficult. But as a society, Blake, where I feel that we have been misdirected, is as a society, we're taught, you just have to stay motivated. You just have to stay motivated. And that is bullshit. Motivation and inspiration are feelings. And they come and go. And if you are relying on motivation, inspiration to get you to where you want to go, you are screwed, because your goals do not care how you feel. Your goals only care that you show up and you do the things. And that's what I teach is like, fine, motivation, inspiration. We love them. They're part of why you made the purchase, why you're here, but it's actually the habits that create the lifestyle and the life of your dreams. So again, all my programs, so like I'm sitting right here, this is because you're in my podcast room where I go live. So I have this giant calendar. See this?
Oh, love it. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, but there you go. January. So part, and I'll give to your lucky listeners. So I'm going to give away some of my secret sauce. Nice. But part of what I teach and make people do is show up with calendars and journals. And these are the 3 strategies that codify, what you want to getting what you want. Literally bring it together. These 3 so simple things, but People don't do it. They just I'll just get to the gym. I'll just go to the gym. I'm like, no. You're going to, number one, write it down. So I have everybody in my groups, they get a journal, write it down. Number two, schedule it on the calendar, and you have to use a pen and paper. I'm done with all your automated. You can put it in that calendar.
Agreed.
Your Apple, you can put it in your phone, but you got to write it down. So writing is a way to mix your creative side and your analytical side, and it integrates both sides of your brain. So by writing it down, you're 42% more likely to hit your goal if you just write it down. But if you really want to see your dreams become reality, there's just one simple thing that moves you from even 42% up to over 85%. And do you know what that is?
No. What is it?
Schedule it with somebody else. Not just schedule, I'm going to work out, I'm going to read a book, I'm going to do the workbooks, I'm going to check out real estate, I'm going to make calls, like whatever your do is, right? Like if you want to grow in real estate, there's a whole bunch of things, right? You need to do cold calls or whatever you have to do. Put out your flyers, do it, consistency. Schedule that shit with somebody else. You will show up 85%. You go over 85% of execution. And if execution determines your outcome, and that's just, I just saw a picture of Giselle Bundchen, and she's jogging in Costa Rica with her personal trainer. She flies her fucking personal trainer down to Costa Rica. Why, Blake, and all these listeners that are like, God, this woman swears more than,
It's all good. It's all good.
Driver. I'm from Jersey. What the fuck did you expect? Number one, okay? Why does she fly her personal trainer to go for a jog with her? Do you think Giselle Bundchen doesn't know how to go for a run?
No, of course. Yeah.
You think Giselle, she knows how to Pilates, she knows how to yoga, she knows how to eat, she knows how to, Giselle Bundchen, her life depends on it. Why does she fly her personal trainer down on vacation with her for 2 months? Because of accountability, because of showing up, because her personal trainer is standing there going, Giselle, we're going to go for a run. And so she just, because she's a human being, and she sometimes doesn't feel like going for a run, but she schlepped her personal trainer down there, and that guy's got one job to do and make sure she goes for a run. So that, like, to me is like, do you understand? That is what successful people do, is they buy accountability. They buy it.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
And think about it for your real estate thing. You're like, yeah, man. Imagine somebody sat with you every day for an hour and is like, you're going to make these for an hour. Each of us are going to make 10 calls or whatever,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I have a team of 6 people in the other office here. And every morning, that's what we do is I put all their calls for the week up and contracts, deals sold, everything, because just seeing it and knowing that everybody's going to, people want to perform, they
want to check a box.
I
want to take a big red marker. I sometimes on my to-do list will write something down that I already did so I can check it off.
I do the same thing. I did this morning. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm telling you, because it's also visual affirmation that you're getting shit done. And we all it's just something in the human experience. We want to feel good about ourselves.
100%.
And anyway, that's just stuff that I want to help people move from that. Everybody knows what they need to do. You know you need to make the calls. You need to go for a run. You need to put down the donut, and you need to stop drinking soda, drink the water, do the things. But everyone knows, but actually doing it, there's a giant abyss, and doing it consistently. The consistency, man, that's where the rubber meets the road. And honestly, that's why I do these programs. I mean, they're so fun.
I absolutely love it, Bart. You're speaking my language. Essentially, you can summarize it as accountability is the secret sauce, right? It's the secret sauce. I mean, that is, that's where the magic happens.
It's the doing, Blake. Yeah,
it's the doing, right?
Because you can read a book about atomic habits and still be an atomic fucking nothing. Yeah, you can read the book, but that doesn't mean, you can read the book. You can, I've got to wake up early. I've got to la. Yeah, you gotta, but are you gonna,
Exactly.
No, I don't know
Exactly.
what that labels me because I feel like accountability is such a lame word. I got to come up with a new one. I'm gonna
No,
steal.
yeah, but that's what it is. And I have a coaching group too. It's mainly it's men. It's for men, and it's mostly real estate guys. And
Yeah,
that's what we try to do is help each other accountable because right now we're doing like a push-up challenge, right? It's like
yeah,
silly, but it's like, hey, every day do 100 push-ups, right? And you have to do the
yeah.
video and you have to put it in the group and the whole thing. And I think sometimes for me, I'm like, but that's so simple, but that's what people need. They,
Yeah, but the success lies in the simple,
yeah,
right? It lies in the doing the simple things consistently. Doing a push up is like, oh, I can't do 100 push-ups in a lifetime, but for example, I'll do like we're putting together a 10,000 day a step a day like challenge for 14 days or whatever. Maybe it'll be 90. Rebecca's my assistant putting it together. But it's not that it's just so much more fun when you do it with other people and
right.
you're helping and your example is helping somebody else. So then you're more tied to helping somebody else. And oh God, I'm going to destroy this story, but I'm a little obsessed with it. Do you remember from the Seattle Seahawks? There is a football player. They're twins, and one of them has an arm deformity.
Yes, yes.
Who am I? Shaquem?
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
And there's a video out there. It's done by Nike, and I got to find it again. I got to send
It was a commercial, right? It was a commercial that they did.
I watched it over and over again because it speaks my language. And what he said is when he wanted to quit, he realized that there were so many fans and kids out there with handicaps or physical deformities. He was missing his hand, right? Parts of his hand were not formed in the prenatal part of life. And look, so I'm destroying the story, but the part of the story that matters, and I love these guys, like I want to get them on my podcast. That'll be one of my goals. That landed for me is he got back up time and time again. His brother made the NFL. His brother made the college cuts. He was always like fighting so much harder than his brother, who had two hands, no malformities. And he's like, I always got up and did it again because I knew I was setting an example for somebody else. And that's what motivated him. And that's what I love about what you're doing with the push-up challenge and the call, any sort of challenge like that, you start showing up less about you and more for everybody else.
So
guess
true.
what? The byproduct is you win. And when you learn that, the sooner you learn that, the better off you are. Is by helping others, you ultimately help yourself. And the more people you can help, the more successful you're going to be. And anyway, that Nike ad landed right here and always reminds me of you're not in this for you. You're in this for other people that, need your courage. They need that contagious courage to catch on to them. So,
man, this is so awesome, Barbara. I seriously love everything that you're saying. And I actually have a question that I wrote down here, and I feel like you've already answered it, but I'm gonna ask it anyways.
Sure.
And the question is, what do you think the world needs the most right now, with all the stuff that's happening? There's so many things, right?
Critical thinking.
Woo! Me and my wife were talking about that last night. Wow, that's unbelievable. Okay.
Yeah, the ability to start seeing things for what they are, not what they present themselves to be. Everything is a highlight reel, and I'm talking about Joe News. I'm talking about Joe News is a highlight reel that has been carefully curated for one reason or another. And if you do not start developing your critical thinking skills, you're literally going to buy the bullshit that is being served to you. And eventually it's going to give you some fucking major runs. So you need to start thinking what's going, really, there's so much going on right now that I'm like, that's bullshit. Let me tell you what's bullshit right now. Let me tell you why.
I love it.
I have my major, there's so much bullshit. I just brought it on Twitter Spaces. I was like, oh, this story that they're promoting to you, that's the cover for that story. One of them is, okay, so the vaccine has been said to cause strokes, which they do. It's, I'm not being controversial right now. I'm not being controversial. Yeah. But the truth is the strokes aren't the story. The myocarditis is the story. But the myocarditis is so much more ubiquitous. It's so much, it is so much more prevalent, especially in young boys from the vaccine. They don't want to run that story because they can't manipulate the data on myocarditis as easily as they can for the strokes. So they're like, listen, we got to get this story out. Yes, adverse reactions are a possibility, but the numbers are low. They are literally, it's like a Labrador retriever. They're throwing the ball and everyone's like, yeah, but COVID's so much worse. And I'm like, COVID is not so much worse in young men, and they don't need to get that vaccine, and you're not telling the full story. You're manipulating us. So it's so frustrating for me, who's like got a little more access to some information and experience. I'm like, the stroke isn't the story. The myocarditis is the story. The young people suddenly dying, that's the story. And they're not telling that story, but they're giving you some to wet your palate so you don't feel that the media is so biased. So if that's a crazy question, and I'm probably like pissing off now, they loved me, they hate me, they love me, but that's who I am. Okay, so if people need to be more critical thinkers of why they're giving you this news, why are they putting Amy Robach and her little affair from GMA on the front cover of everything? Is because Amy Robach actually had the story about Jeffrey Epstein years before they disclosed it, but they don't want you to talk about that. They want to bury her. They want to make her look like a shithead. But there's I'm like, that's not the story. That's not the story. But yet and she's having an affair. Do we care? I don't care. I don't give a shit who you stoop. You can stoop whoever you want to stoop. But that's not the story. That's how they're burying the Jeffrey Epstein story. But I could tell you, and that's all I want, more critical thinking out there, and I want more transparency. I just answered two things, but critical thinking, number one, more transparency, authenticity. I am not here to I'm no longer on this earth to please everyone, because I could be the juiciest peach on the planet and not everybody's going to like peaches. I think that's like a quote by, I don't know who it's a quote, but it's not my It's a good quote. Google it. Somebody said it long before I was on this earth. So anyway, that's
I love your answer. That's me and my wife. We have these rants, at home, and we always my wife would love you. I mean, just hearing everything you're saying, seriously. And critical think is what she was talking about last night. And why, man, it's just unbelievable, because you have history working in media. You've done a lot of media stuff. You've been in that world. And people that are not in that world, you just, and even myself, like I don't have media background, and you watch the news, most people are like, oh, well, this is the gospel. This is the truth. Why? How does that work? Why are we so
well, at one point, Blake, at one point it was all the news that's fit to print, but now it's all the news that's paid to print. And there's so much bias. There's so much toxicity, manipulation, money. There's a lot of nefarious things going on. So your best place to get it, if you want to just be entertained, you can turn on the news.
Right.
They're going to talk about pop culture. Like yesterday, I was in a Twitter space and they start talking about who's that guy who, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Mind you, really, that's the top pop story, because Alanis Morissette just came out and said that at 15 years old, she was sexually molested or taken advantage of because she was 15 years old. She was trying to get into the music industry. And she stated that it's the most, it's like child predators galore over there. Does that story get talked about as much as Alex Baldwin? I'm like, I don't give a shit. The guy clearly accidentally shot somebody. Right. I don't think he woke up that day and was like, I would like to murder somebody on my set. Right. I haven't done that on my lifetime. Let me check the fucking box. And here we are, fine. They're putting out a lawsuit. It's whatever. To me, I'm like, listen, I want that I want, justice done right. I want justice, but it's not going to bring it back. It was a tragedy and it was awful. But he's not a murderer. So we're going to get all caught up in his story and whatever. I'm like, he's not a murderer. Yes. Exactly. Is it manslaughter? Involuntary manslaughter?
Yeah. Involuntary manslaughter.
Okay. And then let's move on to the story. Let's get to the Alanis Morissette. So young girls and young boys are no longer raped by music executives or Hollywood producers or Hollywood casting agencies or Hollywood or the music, whatever. Let's talk about shit that fucking matters, that takes care of our next generation, and not talk about how Alex Baldwin is a murderer. I'm like, that's such a salacious piece of bullshit. I woke up today, I'm going to go murder someone and cost myself gazillion dollars off the production. Oh, please, somebody stab me, please.
I feel like the media is the most powerful system in the world. You know, it seems like it, right? It casts a narrative, it casts a spell out. People hook in, and their actions start coming from the narrative, and then people start developing belief systems. And
you better get on Twitter Spaces, because Elon Musk has unleashed the Kraken. None of us are blocked anymore. Well, I'm still canceled actually on the Twitter, but I
really.
I got canceled because who knows, actually. I'm a little confused. I'm like, how did I get canceled? It's one of two things. Number one, my account was hijacked for a little bit, and I assumed somebody did something nefarious during that time. But then I'm like, can't you see that I was trying to get the account back? Like, and that's incongruent to Barbara Majeski. Like, can you guys just stop automating me and like realize, oh, that was our mistake. That was not my mistake. That was your mistake. I'm either canceled over that, or I have a vaccine injured son who has vaccine induced epilepsy. So I've always advocated for informed consent. I'm not anti-vax. I got the COVID vaccine. I totally regret it. Doesn't matter. But I'm a huge advocate of like, there are risks on both sides. Sure. And here's my example. So I was part of the I was a flagged account. It's a flagged account. It's so crazy. Me, Barbara Majeski. But the crazy part is now it's all these Twitter files are coming out, and the Facebook stuff, and the CDC and all the CIA and all this stuff. And it's so interesting that anybody who talked about possible adverse reactions to vaccines was flagged as harmful. So I got flagged as harmful.
Oh,
Turns out I wasn't the one that was harmful. It was these accounts that were negligent in actually giving people the full scope of the possible adverse reactions to vaccines. So I was labeled harmful, yet I was actually doing my civil duties to inform people that there are risks on both sides, choose wisely, and instead I got lambasted. So, but I don't think I was that like polarizing or nefarious, but I don't know, maybe Blake, there's something really devious about it. I'm like, what's out there about me? But that, like, even like if you spent every day with me for the next 4 years, you would be like, yeah, she's not that nefarious. Like, you could follow me around. You'd be like, I didn't even so much steal a piece of gum. Like, I don't cheat on my taxes. I'm like, I don't know. So
it's crazy. So many.
But wait, go back to Twitter Spaces. Everyone needs to get on Twitter Spaces now that Elon Musk has like let people back on Twitter Spaces. These conversations, these people on Twitter Spaces are fascinating and fantastic. You are getting real people talking about real access, real experiences, and they are not fugazis. They are the real deal.
I love it. I'm gonna have to check that out. Twitter Spaces. Everybody needs to check that out.
And follow me.
Yes, absolutely. And that's actually what I wanted to get to now, because there is so many golden nuggets, Barbara. Seriously, I mean, I felt like that was just heat, straight
starter.
Heat. Yeah,
starter package though. That was a starter package.
Yeah, just straight heat and so many just great things that you pointed out. How can people find you, connect with you, and participate in your programs?
So you can find me at barbaramajeski.com or Barbara Majeski on Instagram, The Majeski at Twitter. I am on TikTok, Barbara Majeski. But here's the thing, Blake. I've just launched the More Life Collective, and it's called the morelifecollective.com. And it's a collective of online challenges, resets, and in-person retreats to help people move from information to transformation. And your group, I believe you and your team will love my next challenge. It's a 90-day workout challenge. It starts March 1st. You get one mulligan over the 90 days, one damn mulligan, which means you get one screw up. But for 90 straight days, it's a commitment to work out every single day. Post in the group. There are rewards, incentives. It is a fun, exciting, and it starts March 1st and it runs to Memorial Day. And it's to get your heinies in shape for a summer of smoking hot tamales. You'll love it. And anybody else that joins, people are, I launched it last year. I'm launching it this year. It's not automated. It's live. It's fun. It's fabulous. And you got to get in. So you just have to go to the More Life Collective or Barbara Majewski. You'll find it.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, I love it, Barbara. We'll have all those links on the podcast and the podcast show notes. So this was awesome, Barbara. I hope we stay connected. I'm going to stay connected with you. I love speaking with you. Your personality, you're so real. You keep it real, which is it's a fresh, nice fresh of air, especially nowadays, the way things are. And just super pumped to get this release and have people not only be able to be inspired by your story, but like you said, it is to take action and to have accountability and participate in programs like yours to help them grow themselves and move themselves forward. So,
and live their best life. Don't wait till you're confronted with your own mortality before you start living your best life. Get out of your own way, live your best life. All right, so we got to take a picture because I took one in the beginning, but you weren't smiling.
All right, let's do it.
Smile. Perfect. Well, thanks, Blake. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Barbara. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.